Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Animel. I am the host Mel for this channel. And as you couldn't have told from previous episodes or by the clear-cut weather outside, if you're in the northern hemisphere of planet Earth, of course, it's gotten quite warm and it's summery, but we already know that. What I'm here to discuss today, though, is the fact that we have a new slate of anime coming soon, in like kind of the first week of July. So get ready and get excited because summer is usually full of just like, I would say, very fun anime for the most part, but also some dope anime. And for lack of better words, this is like the comeback summer. Yeah, the comeback summer is what this is because you have lots of re-returns from many years ago that I and many people are excited for. So let's get into it. First one on our list is called Rent-a-Girlfriend. Rent-a-Girlfriend is back for season 2. Now, the title itself may sound strange if you've never watched Rent-a-Girlfriend before, but the concept of Rent-a-Girlfriend is based on the fact that there's this type of service or type of business that exists within Japan, I think only Japan for the most part, where you can actually rent people for their time. This is quite popular for individuals who perhaps, want to like show off to other family members or friends. And in this instance, like show-wise, our main character kind of, I guess, is a lonely college guy, and I forget the real reason why he rented a girlfriend, but basically he's just very lonesome. I think he may have had a girlfriend previously that broke up with him. Long story short, he rents a girlfriend whom he actually goes to college with. Her name is Chizuru, and they kind of like have a complex relationship going on in an instance where like he's kind of renting her services, like using her services to go on dates, and she has to put on like this kind of persona. She has a different name for her job, and like they start to build like a sort of friendship, and it gets to a point where you start to get a sense that Chizuru kind of has feelings for the main character, along with a bunch of other women that she works with that also work part of this rent-a-girlfriend service. I think most people would think it's kind of cringy, but I think it's actually kind of cute and actually really funny. Just because, like, one, the concept is fresh. It's using, I guess you could say, a real life concept or service that's used in Japan that is not known by many individuals around the world. And it's like a very like interesting explored idea by exposing the audience that watches it to like this type of service. And like, as cringy as it sounds, it's not actually that cringy in reality, just because it can be used for many different purposes, and like in general, just it's more than just renting somebody for the day. But anyway, yeah, Rent-a-Girlfriend, super cute, kind of very funny, not as cringy as it sounds. Next on the list is probably a really short one. To be honest, it's not a full season's worth. So if you already are watching Dr. Stone, you'll know that there are 2 seasons of the show already, with the 3rd season coming out next year in 2023. Now you may be wondering why I'm even bringing this up. Well, Dr. Stone is coming out with an OVA called Ryusui, and I guess this is to help the audience connect both season 2 and season 3. Dr. Stone, essentially, if you've never seen it before, is about this super mad scientist Senku, who's a freaking genius, gets petrified, and so does the rest of the world, and I think like 4,000, maybe 6,000 years pass. I don't remember the recalled number, but basically many millennia pass. And he finally awakens from his petrified slumber and realizes that he needs to bring science back to the world. So he is on a journey to basically reinvent everything known to man: electricity, ramen, cotton candy, antibiotics, just like some basic stuff. The wheel, Things that, we're so used to in society these days because we're in the year of 2022. And now that, I guess you could say, Senku has kind of revived some of his friends from their petrification and built a little community and society on the land on which he was petrified on, he is now taking the opportunity to, I guess you could say, sail the world to see if the rest of the world is petrified, because quite frankly, they've been on the island known as Japan. Can't really call it Japan anymore since there's a high possibility that the rest of the world is also petrified. And again, so like I mentioned, they're taking the opportunity to explore the world to see if there are other petrified folks out there, and at the root of it, to understand what caused this petrification in the first place. And with this OVA, there's going to be a new character that's introduced. I don't know this character's name. I'm going to assume that it has to do with the title name of the OVA, Yusui, but honestly, we'll just see. I'm getting the sense that it's probably going to be a one episode ordeal that's an hour long. That's kind of what I've read online. So if you watch Dr. Stone, you could probably watch it whenever. Watch it this summer, watch it in the fall, watch it in the winter. But just know that season 3 is not coming out till next year, with no indication as to like what season Dr. Stone season 3 will be dropping. Another one on the list that looked interesting, mostly for the animation, but not sure whether I'm totally gonna get into it or not, or whether it will live up to people's desires or needs when it comes to watching anime. And it's called Call of the Night, or Call of the Night. Basically, it's like a vampire anime, and I think this is why it's on the list. I just love vampire everything. And this guy who's in high school, I guess he just has no interest in life anymore. I don't know if he's depressed, he doesn't connect with life, and he also has trouble sleeping at night. With this, happening, he kind of decides to like wander his neighborhood at night, and he bumps into a vampire who tries to show him, what the nightlife or nighttime is all about and why nighttime is so exciting. Cause he just like is so disengaged by the daytime. And even in one of the trailers, the vampire that he meets kind of is just like, people who can't sleep at night usually, or people who wander around at night usually have no interest or desire for the daytime, just because like the daytime, I guess in general, is boring, and you're basically, I guess, kind of a creature of the night. Fast forward, I guess, a little bit into like some of the trailers and the whole premise of the story. Our main character, being so disengaged with his regular life, loves the nighttime and kind of gets fascinated, I guess, by the vampire life, that he wants to become a vampire itself. But here's the kicker though. In order for him to become a vampire, he needs to fall in love with one. I think that's where the concept kind of lost me a bit, and I'm really intrigued to see how like they can build like a proper story out of it. Yeah, so if you're into vampires and you find the animation quite interesting and perhaps the premise of the story, maybe this is worth a try. But I'd be interested to see like, just what kind of storyline develops out of it. Shadowhouse is now also returning for a season 2. I recently decided to binge the first season, just because I saw a lot of hubbub online that it was a really good show. And long story short, if you've seen The Promised Neverland, I would say that Shadowhouse is like a PG version of Promised Neverland. Basically, we get introduced to this character or group of characters, Kate and Emiliko, and one of them is a shadow, Kate. She has no facial expressions, she wears clothes, she has a body, but she's basically like a shadow. Just think about your shadow and how it mirrors how we look. So Emiliko, I guess you could say for lack of better words, is like a mirrored version of Kate, but a person. But actually she's been given this phrase throughout the show, a living doll. basically all the human-looking people within the House of Shadows, I guess that's what they call it, are living dolls, and they live to serve as the face for the shadows that they are paired with. Now, I don't know if I want to reveal so much of the story, just because it's kind of a newish anime, and I think you just need to watch season 1 first. But it's quite fascinating, because with houses like that are so secluded from other villages in society, you come to learn that obviously there are a lot of secrets that this shadow house family is keeping. And additionally, where did these living dolls come from? They claim that these living dolls were created by, the Lord of Shadows, or Grandfather Shadow, basically the dude, the patriarch of the house. I don't know. He created them. No one knows what kind of sorcery, magic, weirdness he did to create living dolls, but we slowly come to find out that they're actually humans. And these humans have kind of like been taken from families, and it's usually children. And they're kind of like brainwashed into helping out the Shadow family, and almost being held against their will by having their memories wiped clean of their actual lives. So Kate and Emiliko and their group of close friends come to learn this at the end of season 1. And I think season 2 is just going to be a continuation of understanding the additional mysteries of what Shadow House has in store for them. And additionally, I would say how to set the humans free and let them return to their regular life. It doesn't look like it will be that simple, because there are many traps in place within the Shadow House, and it's going to be difficult to bypass the lurking eyes of all the adults and head figures of the home. Furthermore, we've got My Hero Academia coming out with some OVAs. I actually don't know if I mentioned this, but OVA stands for Original Video Animation. That means that it's not connected to its original, perhaps, sourcing, whether it be a manga or a video game or a light novel. It's just something that the creators kind of, spun up either to add more context to the story, or B, to give fans different sides of their characters and different types of storylines in an original format or with an original storyline. Aside from My Hero, because we'll probably be getting season 6 soon, that's been announced. I don't remember whether it's slated for later this year or early next year. So look forward to some fun My Hero OVAs, probably some summer content. You may be wondering at this point why I've dubbed this the summer of re-returns, or the comeback of animes, or like the summer of comebacks. Essentially, we've got some animes on this list that haven't had new content come out for, I want to say, 5 to 9 years, maybe 5 to 10 years. Let's just round up. First one on the list is The Devil is a Part-Timer. Essentially, Mao, or Satin, I think if you watch the dubbed, is like, in season 1, he's like trying to take over the world that he's from, and he comes out of hell, tries to take over the world, and he gets defeated by this hero named Amelia. And I guess essentially when he gets defeated, they throw him through a portal that basically isekais him to modern day Japan, or Tokyo more specifically. There he finds that he kind of doesn't have his full abilities left to kind of return to his old world, but he needs to survive in now Tokyo in order for him to, essentially recover. Being that he needs to bide his time until his powers and abilities return, as well as for him to figure out how to get back home, he kind of needs a place to live and food to eat and money. And I think, as we all know, in order for anyone to live on this wonderful planet that we call Earth, and in any of these countries, we need money. And in order for us to gain money, we need to have a job. So, as the title indicates, the devil from another world becomes a part-timer at what we would call McDonald's, but it's called McRonald's or something like that. It's a spoof on McDonald's. Gets a job there and tries to just earn money so that he could, hang out until he figures out how to return home. What makes this anime so enjoyable though is you've got this evil devil being who tried to take over the world in his original world, who is now working a fast food job, and his, I guess you could say, like, his subordinates are there, like, looking for him, or they're there with him, and they're like, dude, what are you doing? We need to get back to our world. Why are you working this job? And he just ends up acting more or less like a regular human, with the exception that obviously he has demon powers. And interestingly enough, when there are people in danger, he is opting to use his devil powers to save people. Now, it seems like the trailer has portrayed that there's another kink in his life that's going to require him to work a little bit harder before he can get back to his regular world, and that is that he now has a child, or a devil demon being that claims to be his child. Obviously, he's very confused, I'm very confused, we're all very confused, but I'm excited to see what kind of new comedic, gags come out of this, because honestly, it's just a really funny show about a demon who's living a human life just trying to make money. The last anime that I have on the list is Classroom of the Elite. Classroom of the Elites is an interesting show about a school that was created by, I guess, the government of Japan to accept the best-in-class citizens or teenagers of Japan so that they could basically build a better future for Japan. So in order for you to be admitted to school, you kind of have to be, really intelligent, probably well-rounded. I don't know if really intelligent is the word, but well-rounded and gifted enough to pass the test to get in. When you pass this test to get in, you are placed in specific classes, class A, B, C, and D. Each of these classes, if you have watched the show or haven't watched the show, kind of ranks your value at that school. And the school has a very interesting structure as to how it's set up. Now, backtracking a little bit, as I mentioned, the school was created to create, I guess, the best-in-class citizens of Japan when they graduate. And the idea is that if you go to the school, you have a 100% guarantee of getting a job or getting accepted into any college that you want, which is what attracts so many students to apply to the school. What none of them are ever told, though, is that in order for you to even survive and, I guess, really benefit from learning the skill sets that you need to survive outside of the school, is that you earn certain points. At first, the students are given points. These points act as money. 1 point equals 1 yen, for a better understanding. So they're able to buy accessories, they're able to buy video games, they're able to buy food, like hair products, you name it, like just how we use money. And come to find out that based on the class that you're ranked in and how well you do on your classes and how well you do on your tests determines also how much points you get. And you come to find out that the points that they give you can almost be used for anything. It gets to a certain extent that the points that you can use can almost buy you into another class if you want to move higher in rank, which essentially boosts your overall merits and how much points you make, because each class gets a certain subset of points. I think I've rambled on long enough, but it's coming back for a second season. And more than anything, while the show itself has a very interesting premise, kind of like a survival of the fittest in a school system structure, our main character, Ayano Koji, he is like this really aloof character that's very indifferent and doesn't seem to care about anything or anybody for the most part. He goes on to like help his friends, for lack of better words, or help his classmates, let's say that, so that they can move up in classes, right? Or to help them survive, or to help him stay at the school and not get suspended or expelled. But what gets revealed in almost the very last episode, or the last few episodes, is that he's got a pretty twisted past of him manipulating people for his own needs. And additionally, while he has demonstrated to like fully help people out in their times of need, while acting indifferent, he helps and he acts really helpful almost all the time. he doesn't perceive anybody as friends. He doesn't perceive anybody as allies. And he's, for lack of better words, using them all for his goal. But he stated multiple times that he has no interest in actually making it to Class A. He has no interest in, what the school has to offer him. So there's kind of like this backstory to him that doesn't really make any sense. That, I believe, personally for me and probably for many others, is what makes the coming of season 2 so enticing. We want to better understand Ayano Koji and to see, like, what exactly are his goals then? Now, while that wraps up the list of anime that I have on this list that's returning this summer, I thought I'd throw something new in here and actually talk about a manga that's returning this summer. Only because it ended, I want to say, in 2020, and it's getting animated this year. It's getting animated for the fall, and the show is called Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man has a whole part 1 that I'm hoping gets fully adapted into an anime. I'm very curious to see how many chapters we're getting this fall when the anime, fully debuts. But in the meantime, if you've read the first part of Chainsaw Man, which is about 97 chapters, it's actually coming out with a part 2, and that is on July 13th, I believe. So I'm really excited about part 2, only because we kind of left off in a state where, like, personally, I was comfortable with the storyline ending, but it seems like there's still so many devils in the world of Chainsaw Man, and I won't spoil it for anybody because it seems like there may not have been many people who have read it yet. And additionally, if you're personally one person who just prefers to watch anime and doesn't want to read any manga, I don't want to spoil what excitement is coming at you this fall, but look forward to Chainsaw Man Part 2. I'm very curious to see as to how the mangaka continues the story of Denji, our favorite crazy, lunatic, idiotic Chainsaw Man. As you can see, we've got a lengthy list of very cute, fun anime, comedy anime, maybe thriller, mystery anime, action anime that are all making their way back to our lovely living room screens this summer. And if you're a manga reader, you've got something on the list to look forward to July 13th. Hopefully this is enough to fill your summer while, making trips to the beach and enjoying, festivals and whatnot, summer life. But this is going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for joining. I always appreciate all of your shared support and your comments and your likes and so on and so forth. I can't say it enough. But until next time, this is Mel and signing off. Bye!